The mechanic finally tracked down the mastermind behind the robots, breaking their original programming. But the moment he pulled off the cloak, he froze in shock. Standing before him was another robot. Jacq looked around in disbelief, confirming there were no humans anywhere in the area. He stared at the neatly arranged parts on the table. That's when it hit him: robots had truly developed self-awareness, and they were trying to assemble something. Shaken to the core, Jacq just wanted to get home as fast as possible. But the moment he turned to leave, 3 robots immediately began assembling the parts. They were trying to create the first robot entirely built by themselves, only to realize they were missing the most critical component: a nuclear battery. And Jacq just happened to have one on him. As the robots slowly approached, Jacq knew he was about to pay for his mistaken beliefs. A few days earlier, a client had reported to Jacq that a robot had killed his beloved dog, but Jacq didn't believe him. He grabbed a blade and held it to his own hand. With that act, Jacq proved to the man that robots were the most reliable companions in his home. Jacq was so confident because every robot, before leaving the factory, was programmed with 2 absolute laws. The first, never harm any living being. The second, never modify itself or other robots. Because of these 2 unbreakable rules, humans gradually began to trust and enjoy the services robots provided. However, as robots became more widespread, strange incidents started happening one after another. One day, while on patrol, a police officer unexpectedly caught a robot performing unauthorized self-repair. The officer instinctively drew his gun, but the robot suddenly raised its arm. That reaction only convinced the officer even more that it had to be destroyed. After all, a normal robot wouldn't show fear. Later, the damaged robot was retrieved by the manufacturer for disposal. Jacq, who took over the case, learned that technicians had found 25 unidentified parts inside the robot. But despite handling countless robot-related cases, Jacq still couldn't believe they would violate their core directives. So he followed the trail of those extra parts and eventually tracked down their original owner, welding robot No. 206, which was supposed to be building a barrier wall to stop desert encroachment. But the moment Jacq met robot 206, he noticed something unusual in its eyes. Even stranger, its first reaction upon seeing Jacq was to turn and run. Stunned, Jacq chased after it and eventually found it inside a rundown container filled with mechanical parts. The robot clutched a metal box tightly in its arms. When Jacq asked what was inside, it suddenly knocked over a nearby oil drum and set itself on fire without hesitation. The robot's act of self-immolation deeply shocked Jacq. He brought the charred remains back to the lab, only to discover that the box it had protected with its life contained a nuclear battery capable of powering a satellite. Because of the robot's series of abnormal behaviors, the research team decided to force a system reboot. But when Jacq pressed it about the reason for its self-destruction, the robot suddenly began to shake violently. Hydraulic fluid leaked out as it once again chose to destroy itself. This chain of bizarre events finally forced Jacq to consider that these robots might truly have developed self-awareness. To test his theory, Jacq contacted the officer who had first discovered a robot violating modification rules. The 2 of them headed together to an underground market known for better intelligence.